Thursday night, you know what that means?
Will you look back when you're old and grey and think those dumb kids had a lot to say when we were trying to make this night one you'd remember? I don't care if my wheels don't turn, I don't care if my pipe don't burn, as long as I am flowing through your veins after I'm gone away.
It's Thursday night and you know what that means.
And Stacey's going to do most of the talking because I've got a cold today. But
Oh no!
without further ado, we're going to go straight into it with what we've got. We've got Will from Knott's Bad Movie Club, and hopefully Wenty's going to be joining in a bit.
How you doing? I love the intro song. It goes from sort of calm to chaos quite quickly.
It's the same song by a band I know, but I have clipped it. It's like the start of the song and then the end of it.
Right, okay, that'll be it. Yeah. No, I like it. It's good. Yeah, Winty's going to hopefully join us. He is the tech guy for Knott's Bad Movie Club, but he's also at times the least tech savvy, which it kind of makes it work. If he was too good, then we'd be working at Odeon or Cineworld. You know, we try and make it like okay, and that's the entertainment part.
I hope you'll join us soon. Bless him.
Before I get into the club or anything, what to you constitutes a bad movie?
I think sort of what we love is films where they try to make it good. You know what I mean? I struggle with Sharknado because I think they knew that it was going to be a bit rubbish. They just spent a low amount of money and didn't bother to make it any good. But if you... certain films like Troll 2, they really, really tried to make it good. And it just ended up turning from a horror into a comedy. And then the fans took hold of that film and then ran with it and made it this cult classic. So, yeah, any film... Are you working?
Yeah, I'm working.
We'll see how it goes from there.
I was just, Wenty, I was just talking about why we... everyone's jumping around here. What we like about bad movies. Yeah, so films that like they tried to make a box office success and it ended up being a complete flop. And that's what I love about it, you know. But sometimes that can turn into a boring film, but other times it just flips it completely. Things like The Room, Tommy Wiseau tried to make this magnum opus of amazing drama, and it turned into one of the funniest comedies of all time. And that's kind of what we're trying to do, is just celebrate that on a big scale, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if Winty wants to add to that. I asked Will what constitutes a bad movie or a good bad movie, shall we say?
So many reasons. Yeah, like Will said, it could be just movies that kind of flopped at the time. There's some that aged amazingly. You know, the CGI stuff is a gold mine for us, like a treasure chest. And then you got the ones that like nowadays don't stand up to any political, you know, the way the rest of society works anymore. I find them quite funny. There's also clued into a new set of religious propaganda movies that I need to check out. So I'm looking forward to them.
Guys, we struggle with Winty, so we've got Chris and I that are trying to build a night that people want to go to, and Winty wants to show these obscure Christian propaganda films that
get you in trouble.
Hilarious. There'll be the three of us in a room, you know. Yeah, it's a fine line.
Apart from Tommy Wiseau, if I'm pronouncing that right, because I'm a big fan of The Room as well, and Best Friends / Best Fiends that he did. But
yeah.
Apart from him, I'll ask Will first. Is there a specific actor that you think is sort of good bad movie vibe about them? Because I've got one in mind straight away.
There's one who we were at MCon the other weekend, and we were talking. You know, everyone that came over, they're like, "Oh, what do you do?" We're like, "Oh, bad movies." And every single person, they said the same name, and they said Neil Breen. And that is, and I if I'm honest, I've only seen bits of Fateful Findings, and Neil Breen is like another Tommy Wiseau. He's just tried to make these films good, and he's just so rubbish. So I am trying to harass Neil Breen on the internet to get hold of some of his films. Apart from that, like so bad it's good. I mean, Adam Sandler is rubbish, isn't he? He plays the same character in every single film. I imagine some of his films would jump onto bad movies eventually. Maybe in 10 years' time, we'll be watching some of his films, like Going Overboard, and think, "Oh my god, how did this guy get a career?"
What about Winty? Are there any actors that stand out to you as being?
Well, Chuck and Seagal are two biggies. Chuck Norris and Steve Seagal are, yeah. I wonder if they have done a good movie. I know Chuck Norris was in maybe a couple of kung fu movies, but
I'm nodding away on that one.
yeah, definitely those guys. I think I'd like to see more Seagal films at the Not So Bad Movie Club.
Because I only ask because there's two that come. There's one that always comes to
Where it
mind
just
for me.
oafs into a room.
There's one that always comes to mind for me, and I like watching him. Every time I see him, I think he's sort of acting in a certain way that's sort of weird, but it works. And I'd say that's Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah, definitely. So we've explored. We'll probably do a Nicolas Cage double bill at some point, but it'll have to be a sleepover because all of his films are about 2 to 3 hours long. Obviously, one that's on all the lists is the remake of Wicker Man.
Yeah.
It's just so ridiculous, and it's hilarious. But I guess the issue with that film is that there is a lot of hilarity, but there's 20 minutes of nonsense where it isn't necessarily funny until that comes in. Con Air, yeah, you could do. I mean, Face Off. I wouldn't say it's a bad movie, but it would play very well with a crowd. I'd love to see. Every time we do a bad movie, we announce it, and then 20 people message us saying that's not a bad movie. So, just to annoy everyone, I'd probably do Face Off and a Wicker Man double bill, but definitely Nicolas Cage.
The other one, I don't know his name now, but specifically in Elf, every scene with I can't remember. Is it Walter Hobbs, his dad?
The dad,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Every scene he's in, the way he reacts is as if he's walked into the wrong set.
Yeah,
I think he nails it though in Elf though. Do you know what I mean? It needed that character, but I get what you mean. He is Face Off is great. See, Face Off is great. We're not coming to your nights ever. When we were at MCON, we decorated our table at MCON with loads of bad movies, and because it was like a Comic-Con, we put a VHS of Empire Strikes Back on there just to annoy people. I know I love Star Wars, but people were, and they were coming over, why have you done that? And I was like, well, we've started a dialogue now, haven't we? That was we lured them in by offending them. Right, you're okay. Hello.
I'd be one of them that why is that there?
That's it. That's exactly why we do it. Drive Angry. Oh yeah, what's Drive Angry? What's the other one? Ghost Rider. That's probably not a good Nicolas Cage.
Oh.
Yeah, Ghost Rider was.
Would you say another way of saying bad movie is
the CGI wasn't that
underwhelming
great,
movie?
An overwhelming movie for me, really. Like we kind of backed ourselves into a corner calling it the Bad Movie Club because what I want to do is just it's a celebration of cinema, but not the sort of cinema where you go and watch a film. There are some great films that you'll sit in silence watching. Like Apollo 13, great film. I can't imagine standing up and cheering at any moment. Maybe the end. But what we wanted to do is we wanted a night where people can, first night we did was Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter from the 90s, and
yes,
they're good, but the CGI is a bit rubbish. But whenever there was a fatality in Mortal Kombat, people cheered and
yeah,
and that's what I want. Like any kind of screening where people can let out those emotions, because you can't really anymore. You go to the cinema, and unless it's a horror film, everyone's sat in silence, and then if people are noisy in a film, it annoys you. So why not? This is what we wanted to do: is make a night where it's kind of encouraged. You don't have to, but just be as noisy as you want, and then no one's annoyed that you're rustling some sweets. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people are, they're cheersing and clinking beers. The new Mortal Kombat was good. Yeah, Winty's just messaged me to say he's gone again. We're aware of that. He's
if he can come back at some point, he'll come back.
Okay. It's fine. Oh, you okay?
Yeah,
I'm coughing
right.
quite a bit.
Yeah, where are we then? He's messaging me about the internet. I don't know. Yeah, this happens with Winty. So Winty does all of our tech stuff at these events, and the last one, I try and get like the cast and crew from the films to send in videos, and I spent a long time getting. It was Dominique Davalos she was in the band. Oh, what was it? Cherry Bomb in Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
And I was so happy I got the video. I put it up on the screen and the audio wasn't working. And I'm there, with the microphone. Here it is. And it took about 4 minutes for Winty to get it sorted. And then it ends up just me having to mock him down the microphone, for 4 minutes. Wild Wild West, another great one. Yeah. So, Winty, bless him. We love him to pieces, but he's not very good at technology. And he lives in a farmhouse somewhere. So no.
I just want to say, you probably already know this because you'll be more of a movie buff than me, but Wild Wild West, he turned down the lead in Matrix to do that film, didn't he, Will Smith?
Oh, Jesus. Yes, yeah, that's not a good movie.
Because he liked the TV show that it was based on.
I mean,
so he chose the Wild Wild West.
This is what I miss about like the 90s when they used to glue a song with the film. They did it with the new Lady Gaga did the new Top Gun theme tune, and that's great. But you had the Wild Wild West song, then you had Men in Black, and obviously Armageddon.
Yeah,
they did it with everything. They need to do more of that.
It sounds sad. I actually had the Wild Wild West single, and I actually had I still have the MIB soundtrack as well.
Wild Wild West, yes.
Yeah, I still have them.
But I'd like, that might be on the list at some stage. So this is a photo from we screened The Room with Greg Sestero in May, which was crazy. How
did you get him?
Well, a lot of what we do is it's a kind of like a Del Boy, he who dares wins kind of scenario. So I saw that he was doing a night somewhere else in England, and I Facebooked him and said, "Hello, we run a movie night. Would you like to come to Nottingham?" And his response was, "Absolutely." That was his first response. And then 3 months later, we're meeting him at a hotel in Nottingham. We took him to a few pubs. I got to have a one-on-one lunch with Greg Sestero where he gave me loads of weird behind-the-scenes info about Tommy Wiseau. Like he told me how old he is, which is no one knows. Have we got you, Winty?
Yeah. I mean, no.
Welcome back again.
I just ran around the house and plugged it. I just ran around the house and plugged everything that's got the internet on it.
He's got Napster and LimeWire on the go, downloading bad movies.
Oh, let's go.
I'll turn. I'm not saying nothing. I'm going to drop my face off it, I'm afraid.
Just in case it lags. But yeah, it was a great day. I mean, for us, that was one of the biggest, maybe the biggest event we've done. We normally do the events with, so that's sort of cinema seating, but we normally have tables and chairs. So the idea is we're trying to create that kind of pub environment, but in a cinema. But for this one, because of the size of room we'll be using, we had to make it theatre style, like a cinema. But, there was still a bar and you could order burgers. And it was great. Like we did a Q&A with Greg, and it was really funny as well. Like because we spent the day together, we built up a bit of a rapport, and he let me take the piss out of him, which was great. I wasn't sort of treading on eggshells around him, and he brought loads of behind the scenes videos as well. So we had an exclusive clip. Him and Bob Odenkirk from Better Call Saul have remade The Room explicit. I don't know why. Charity, I think, but Bob Odenkirk plays the role of Johnny, which is Tommy Wiseau's character, but they play it straight, like completely. Tell when to turn it off, IT manager. They play it completely straight as a drama, and they showed a whole scene from the film, like a 5-minute scene as a drama. It's absolutely ridiculous, but that'll be out hopefully this year, I reckon.
Ooh.
Oh, Garbage Pail Kids, yeah.
Oh, Garbage Pail Kids, yeah. Had an earring.
I watched that one in COVID on YouTube, I remember.
I'd find that quite scary. I don't think it's meant for kids, but I would have found that quite scary as a kid watching some of the faces on that.
Definitely, yeah.
Didn't they do a cartoon of it? If it's the one that I'm thinking it is.
No, because I know
Am I thinking Toxic Crusaders?
Might be. This was just like Cabbage Patch Kids, but they all had weird names, like they were a bit offensive. I'm
sure there was like little trading figures or something you could get of them or something. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember the toy that came with them or something. Maybe.
I don't know if you want to describe some of the other things you had there, because you had these games and things.
I think we might have lost Winty for good. I mean...
Oh, bless him.
That'll be right.
Yeah, so that might be the end of Winty.
It's okay. We appreciate him for trying to come on, though. Bless him. So
No, he's just struggling with the internet. You know, this is the joy of technology.
it's okay.
Yeah, well, I'll try and think what he would say. Yeah, this is. I'm sure you can guess what it is. It's Hooker Howard the Duck. So, because we screened Howard the Duck and Batman and Robin last Friday at Annie's Burger Shack in Nottingham, we needed something fun to do at MCon, basically. So we got our friend who's like a tattooist and a bit of a sculptor. We commissioned him to make 5 of these Howard the Ducks. His name's Jesus. If you give him a Google or go down our Instagram, you'll find where we sort of tagged him. But yeah, and this was how you win badges and stickers at MCon, which is obviously ridiculous. But yeah, we just Amazon sent him 5 Bath ducks, and then he turned them into Howard the Ducks, which is it's kind of great knowing artists and people that are geeky as well. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, it's so nice though. It's that sense of community again, isn't it? Just for fun.
Oh, that's it. You know, I mean, I know we didn't end up doing it because I went to a charity shop and bought loads, but Rob and Chris from the 80s video shop were like, you know, if you want to borrow any bad movies, you know, just borrow them. But I was a bit nervous that we would lose them. That's why, you know, why we ended up with it. So this photo here, what do you guys think's happening in this photo? That's what I'm going to ask you.
Did they have to build the masks themselves?
Yeah, so we got a craft table. So during Howard the Duck, we put a load of. I had to order a specific color orange of paper. It was all piled up basically, and we gave away prizes to whoever had the best mask. And I thought no one was going to do it, but we had about 12 people, and some of them you can see are like actually quite good.
They are actually really good. Some of them, yeah.
It was like a child's Easter bonnet parade, but with grown-ups.
That's awesome.
Mask, you know. But that's the sort of thing we're trying to do is you don't have to get involved, and we're not going to sort of go, get involved. But just if you want to be silly at these screenings, that's the idea. So for Howard the Duck, we had this, and we had a few games throughout. Whenever this happens, shout this out. For Batman and Robin, whenever anyone was frozen in the film, we bought 80 fake snowballs that we handed out to everybody, and you had to have a snowball fight and shout. I think you had to shout like "cool party," like on a but that's it. Like, so when we did basketball as part, it was our first Not Good movie club, so that was a double pairing with South Park the movie, and we actually drilled a basketball hoop into the corner of the room, and we gave out, I think it was 1,000 pieces of paper between the room, and you had to, whenever they said the word basketball, you had to roll up a ball of paper and try and throw it into the hoop. But I'd placed 2 of my old people I used to work with. I placed them just underneath where the hoop was, so they were just getting pelted. But it was great, the chaos. And then when South Park the movie was on, we gave out Canadian flags, and whenever the word Canada was said, you had to wave the flags. So when they were singing Blame Canada, it was like last night at the proms. You had 60 people swinging these flags in the air. It's just nonsense. That's what we like.
See, I like that kind of that's my kind of nonsense.
We're trying to, you know, what did I say to someone? It's like being at uni, but you're not at uni, and you're in your late 30s and 40s. It's just a night to switch off, you know.
It's like being your inner child again, though, isn't it? Like, you'd watch these bad movies from when you were younger, and it's like, actually, I can just still be like me again and have a go at these activities that you've got.
Oh, definitely. And then we charge £8 for most of our screenings, and that's a double bill. So you get both films for £8, but we try and give people their money's worth. So when we did a good movie club with Arnie films, but we gave everyone Arnold Schwarzenegger masks. We spent £70 on Arnie masks. And then one thing I try and do, we didn't do it on the first one because it didn't even occur to me, but I try and get cast and crew from the films to send me a behind the scenes video rather than like a pre-recorded thing or like a cameo thing. I try and befriend them on the internet basically. And they're always like, what do I send you? I'm like, well, can you introduce the film? You know, say hello to Not Bad Movie Club. And then can you tell any behind the scenes stories you've got? And since October last year, I think I'm on about 30 videos I've received so far from all sorts of cast and crew.
You got the guy who played Jason, didn't you?
So that was one of the first ones we got was Kane Hodder, who played Jason in Jason X. We also got Todd Farmer, who was the writer of Jason X. But that video was cool because he sat in his shed, which is where he goes at the end of his garden, like a really posh shed, and he had all the props. So he had like his sort of spoiler alert, his death scene head from the film that he showed everyone. Yeah, we even if I can't get someone, I'll tell the story of who I tried to contact, almost like a poor man's Dave Gorman. You know what I mean? I'll do a bit, and if I can't get someone like, so we showed Mac and Me, and we did that with a double bill with Troll 2. I actually got 7 videos between those films, but I had so many responses. I talked about, so Mac and Me was sponsored by McDonald's. They funded a lot of it, and one of the cast of Mac and Me was the 80s and 90s Ronald McDonald. It was Squire Friedel, I think his name was. I don't know how you pronounce it, but he responded. He said he didn't want to do a video, but he now looks after a vineyard in California, and he sent me like this essay to read out. But as a movie fan, it's like, so when I get these responses, it's insane.
Yeah.
And it makes it really fun because we don't use these to promote the night. The first time anyone sees these is live, so. Unless Wenty presses the wrong button, they will see them live up on the screen. So we had Tim Rose, who was the head puppeteer for Howard the Duck, but he was Admiral Akbar in the original Star Wars films. Yeah. He sent like a 6-minute video where he talked about what was it like when he was called in last minute to be in the film, and he obviously set out his salary, what he wanted. But he also said to George Lucas, like, he thought he'd be cocky because he knew that they needed him. He said, I also want a Harley Davidson motorbike. And they were like, yeah, sure. So he got his salary and he got a motorbike as well. But like these little weird stories I love, So we're doing Spice World, the movie, next month.
Gosh.
For my sins, we're doing 3 screenings in July and 1 in September because the people of Nottingham and Derby seem to they can't get enough of it. But I've got 3 videos on my phone already from cast of Spice World the movie. They're not Spice Girls, but if you look through the film, there's some good people in there. So yeah, no one will know what that is and who they are until we screen those films. But it's a lot of fun for me trying to get them in, but it's a lot of fun for the people being there.
I think it's really good the fact that you just don't hesitate to like ask them and just say, look, this is what I'm at. Do you want to do something for like? That's the thing.
So people say, "Oh, how much did you pay?"
Yeah,
I would never pay for anyone. I want them to want to do it.
Yeah.
We had the co-director of Super Mario Brothers from the 90s, and she did a little video, and in it she said like, "Oh, we were so happy when the film was made, but then when it hit the box office, it turned into a shit show, and we were like depressed." But then she said something which like really made me happy. She was like, but seeing that it's got a new lease of life with these screenings, albeit laughing at the film, means the world. Do you know what I mean? And I think this is what I want from people, is to like send videos because they're just happy that there's a room full of people enjoying their film.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
You'll have to let me know if you ever get through to Bruce Campbell from Evil Dead. And do Evil Dead night, because that'll be like, I'm straight.
I don't know if people say it's a bad movie though.
I don't think it is, but
I feel like he's in a film we've got coming up soon. What is it?
Thought it was.
What have we got? Deep Blue Sea, Congo. Is he any of those?
Baba Hotep.
Baba Hotep.
I'll have to have a think. He's definitely in something we've got coming up, and I can't think what it is. So I think because basically I allow myself. It's like I have to start a couple of months before because it's a huge process of like messaging him on.
Yeah.
I love Bruce Campbell. He's just like my ultimate.
I feel like he'd do it. So when we showed Flash Gordon, I messaged Brian Blessed's agent, thinking, oh, he's not going to do it. And it was I messaged Brian Blessed on Facebook, and he responded himself saying, "Can you email this person?" I was like, "Oh my god, Brian Blessed responded." And like, cut forward a week, I was on the bus home from Nottingham, and I started getting a WhatsApp video call. I was like, "Who's this?" And I clicked, and it was Brian Blessed's agent in his kitchen going, "Oh god, oh sorry, Will, I think I pressed the wrong button." He was like, and I was like, video calling Brian Bless's agent on the bus, and he was like, "I'm just trying to send you. Brian's done a video." Anyway, so yeah, I said thank you, but Brian Blessed did like a 5 or 6 minute video for us, like, "Hello, Will, are you in Nottingham?"
Oh, brilliant!
But he wasn't offended that it was the Bad Movie Club. He was like, filming Flash Gordon was a pleasure, and I'm so happy you're watching it. Enjoy it. so Brian Blessed was the big one. We've actually got someone more famous than Brian Blessed coming up in the future that I've got a video for. So I just can't wait to do these screenings so people can finally see them and I can tell people. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I want to get the tickets for the
Shall we?
Spice Girls one now as well.
I want to talk about that convention
Girls night
in a bit, but I thought we'd try the first quiz we've got first, since we were just talking about what you do at your some of the fun stuff you do at your.
She's on now because Wenty's disappeared into the Ethernet. I've got to. I don't know. I've got to answer these things myself. I'll try.
I'll people in the chat. I think you'll get. Basically, I've got quotes, and you can try and guess what film they're from, and people in the chat might get offended if they're not bad films.
But people in the chat can join in with the answers. So
Yeah,
I think you'll get
no pressure. There's no point system or anything. So.
Oh, this is it's the room. This is Tommy
You're
Wise.
tearing me apart, Lisa.
Can I tell a quick story about that? So when Greg Sestero came, we took, obviously went for lunch, spent a day with him. It was a lovely guy, but weirdly, he would quote The Room, but in real life situations, and then he'd wink as well. So I'd say, "Oh, can I get you some food?" And he'd go, "Yeah, what do you want?" And he'd go, "Anything for my princess," and then wink at me. It was it was really surreal. Knowing
was it kind of creepy as well?
I found it a bit creepy.
Yeah,
it's not Tommy Wiseau saying it either.
No, I know. Do you know what I mean? He did the impression constantly. Anyway, that's my story.
There was something that we found on the internet where I just kept singing the song to do with it. So, hey, if I had some place to go, I certainly wouldn't be in Cleveland.
I don't have a clue what that is, if I'm honest.
Or is it Cleveland?
It's Cleveland.
Cleveland. Yeah.
I thought you'd get this.
Hey,
I'll give you a hint.
To go,
you might have shown it recently.
Cleveland. I just don't know. This is it. I'm terrible at pub quizzes.
Oh, anybody else know on this one? Someone's put Zombieland.
I can't see the chat here.
Travel with the Joneses said Zombieland, is it?
No, I
don't know the
It's
answers.
a film you've done an event for very recently.
Ooh. One that you've mentioned.
Is it Howard the Duck?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I would. Oh, this is Batman and Robin. But yeah, no, the context is, there's no obligation to have a drink, but I personally have a couple of drinks while running the event. So Howard the Duck is it's I remember seeing it. I've got the DVD, but it was like, this is the beauty of the night. People aren't sat in silence sort of watching it. So it's a kind of a place to hang out, and we might go, "Oh yeah, Howard the Duck," and then you chat with your friend about other 80s movies, and then you realize that you've missed half an hour of the film. And that's what I love about it. It's just a place for sort of movie geeks to kind of collate. And this is how I'm justifying not knowing that line from Howard the Duck.
This one out?
I know, it's fine. It's just nice just to make friends, though. That's the thing, though, isn't it? You
That's
said you
it. This is why we kind of call it the club. There isn't an official membership, but we're trying to build like a large friend group of people.
Yeah.
Want to have a good time,
Yeah.
You ready?
Oh, next one coming up. Get ready. I'll not rest till I have me gold. Curse this well that me soul shall dwell till I find me magic that breaks me spell.
She doesn't know about these, by the way.
I have not a clue.
Yeah.
I was going to interrupt, but I wanted to hear you finish. I'm going to say that's Leprechaun.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So that one we've got coming up. That's our Halloween Saturday nighter with double bill with Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which is a good movie.
Yeah,
So
I do like
we called it bad movie because if we call it a good movie, people would be like, "Yeah, but it looks rubbish." You just can't win, I think. So
I haven't seen them in years. That and Brain Dead. That's
so Leprechaun and Killer Clowns has sold about a third of the tickets so far. That's a popular one. Leprechaun 2.
Yeah, that's some gangster version.
Yeah, well, there is this Back to the Hood, isn't there? I'm gonna pop up. This is Troll 2.
That's not what I've got.
I'm gonna pop your corn, lady.
Corn.
Well, I don't know if you've seen this film. It's a very bad CGI
there's a
film.
whole popcorn scene, isn't there, in Troll 2? I don't know what it is then if it's not Troll 2.
I don't know if you've seen Food Fight.
It rings a bell, but I don't think
it's a very bad CGI film that cost a lot of money to make because it's got a lot. They lost the film and had to redo it, and it's got a ton of famous people in it. And it's got a ton of product placement.
Oh, there you go. Inspired.
There you go.
I went from dying to feeling more alive than ever. Increased strength and speed. The ability to use echolocation. and an overpowering urge to consume blood.
Is this Morbius?
Yes, it's recent. I didn't know if it was going to count as a bad film, but
I haven't seen it. But this would probably in 5 years' time we will be showing Morbius, I imagine.
Sorry, the one that Travel with the Joneses put from the previous answer put Sausage Party.
it's a very similar film, to be fair, but it's more for kids.
Yeah,
But it's similar with the food products.
that would work, I think.
After throwing body parts in a lake.
Soup, yeah.
Is it soup yet?
Well, there's a lot of body part lake films.
It's one of the sequels to a certain slasher film that takes place in Texas.
Which one?
Texas Chainsaw. I'm having a guess.
Some of those are a bit dodgy. I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 might fit into the bad movie category. Which one have you got on there?
Oh, Travel with the Joneses
3.
on here.
3.
Put Lake Placid.
Placid.
Sorry.
There's those like I guess again it's really subjective. So we showed Jason X, but if you Google what is the worst Friday the 13th film, they'd say Jason Takes Manhattan. Do you know what I mean? But I guess what we were trying to do is like Winty was saying, he'd love to show like these crazy Christian B movies, but no one would come. So we're sort of treading that
Fine line.
Yeah, fine line of like what is bad, but also would people want to go to? Do you know what I mean?
Are you ready to read?
Yes, I am ready to read. Dry land is not just our destination; it is our destiny.
Is this Waterworld?
It is, yeah.
So I love this. I'm a bit of a.
I do actually really like Waterworld, yeah.
I mean, it is bad. Don't get me wrong, but it's long, so we could never show it unless it was like a special presentation, one thing. But I'm one of those people that I'm sure you guys are. I love physical media, and because my house isn't big enough for VHS, I focus on sort of DVDs, charity shops, car boots. But Waterworld's one of those that I bought. Like I think it was Arrow released like the 4K restoration with all the different Ulysses cut and all this kind of stuff. So that's big fan of Waterworld. Even though it's terrible, kind of.
There's one more. Do you want to read out?
Just Travel with the Joneses. Don't worry, it's probably my accent as well because I change between different accents.
Oh no,
so
Leopard Chain. If Leopard Chain happens, that'd be cool though.
Go on then. I'm ready for the next one. Not every situation requires your patented approach of shoot first, shoot later, shoot some more, and then when everybody's dead, try to ask a question or two. Told you my accent's weird.
ONF doesn't watch films.
You're in the correct place then.
Thank you for joining the ONF attractions, but appreciate them.
I don't even think I can guess. There's not even a guess in me. Does anyone else know the answer?
Anybody else? Not every.
It's a film we've mentioned earlier on in the conversation.
Encourage a pinched approach of shoot first, shoot later. Shoot some more, and then when everybody's dead, try to ask a question or two.
I don't know. It's sort of a western.
It's sort of a western.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it the one where I said I got a soundtrack to?
Yeah.
Oh, what did you say?
Well,
I need to pay more attention.
Was it Will Smith?
Yeah, it was.
Wild Wild West, is it?
Yeah. That's
Amazing.
it.
Kevin Kline. That was great. Yeah, I'm just
Duke Nukem.
Yeah, I'm like the worst person to have on your team at a pub quiz. When they turn around, they think, "Oh, this is your specialist subject." I'm like, I don't know.
This sounds terrible, but I'm like it with most famous people's names. So at first, I'm just like, "Oh yeah," and then I go, "I can't remember what film they're in," and then eventually, as soon as I know what film they're in, I know who it is.
Right, this one will be a lot quicker.
It takes me a while.
I've got these from Google and Wikipedia, so they're vaguely right. I'm going to show two bad films next to each other. Yeah. Just tell me which one you think grossed more.
Grossed more. Okay.
Waterworld.
It's got to be Batman and Robin.
Waterworld.
Oh, wow. I must be thinking compared to the cost, yeah.
Howard the Duck or The Disaster Artist?
The film based on the room.
The Disaster Artist. Oh, look at this.
Golly gosh.
The Wicker Man 2006 or Wild Wild West.
Add I'd have said Wild Wild West on that one, but I don't know.
I don't know. Let's go Wild Wild West.
Yeah, a lot more.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
I was looking at the comments. Have you watched Birdemic?
Audible Butter.
Well.
That's Winty. He's way too mean to me.
I've watched Birdemic. That is something else.
Oh,
I need
MA
to
Travels, thank you for joining us as well.
I need to research Birdemic more, because to me that's in the Sharknado category, but maybe I'm ill-informed.
Have you watched I think it's called The Talking Cat.
I don't think I have. No, what's that?
It's a film about a talking cat, but there's so much other stuff going on that's not relevant, and it's people who can't act properly, and it's just is what makes the film.
It sounds good to me. I'm going to say Green Lantern with this one. I saw it at the cinema.
Yes, because the amount of
Just got me.
Well.
Here we go. Anaconda or Lake Placid. Nature. I actually quite like Anaconda. Lake Placid wasn't as good as I thought it'd be, but I do like it. Yeah.
We did Anaconda, and we had a video from the first person who dies in Anaconda. Spoiler alert. What was his name? Vincent Castellanos or something. He did... It was Mateo in it, but he was very chuffed to be involved. It was lovely.
Well, bless him. He's putting his input in. He said Anaconda as well.
Catwoman or Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, which was the second one.
Full Throttle is the second one, is it?
It's the second one, yeah, I think.
I'm still gonna say Charlie's Angels. I think.
See, I think Catwoman.
Yep. Catwoman. Son of the Mask or White Chicks?
I can't bring myself to watch Son of Mask or The Mask.
Have you watched White Chicks?
I've watched White Chicks. I own White Chicks. Yeah, it's on the shelf. I'm going to go with White Chicks here.
Yeah. It's Flintstones, Viva Rock Vegas, or The Adventures of Pluto Nash.
So I've got both of these films on my shelf. I'm going to say Pluto Nash.
Be surprised. It bombed.
Oh, God.
It cost about 100 to make.
Wow.
I want to say Blair Witch 2, I think, is a really good film.
I own it. It doesn't fit in the same universe as Blair Witch, but I enjoy it.
Oh, no, it doesn't at all.
Electra for me, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yay.
The last one. Battlefield Earth or Next?
Let's go for Battlefield Earth. Oh, yeah, I don't know anything.
You got most of them, though, I thought.
I think I got one of them. We tried, eh?
Better than me.
Do you want to tell us about this convention then? Because this was fairly recently.
Yeah, it was beginning of June, same weekend as Download Festival. So when we saw that they were looking for people to buy a trader table, we'd had 3 nights happen. So we did August, October, and December last year, and we kind of run on an almost non-for-profit, on the event. But we had £200 to one side, and then I was like, "Oh, we can get a trader table for £200." We didn't know what we were going to do at that point, and I think I was excited. We just had 7 celebrity videos for Mac and Me and Troll 2, and I was like, "We got to do it." So I convinced Chris and Winty, and they said yes, and then we kind of forgot about it, and months passed. And then about 3 weeks ago, we were like, "Oh my God, what are we going to do?" Because we'd all been to MCon. I sort of take my kids there. But we had to come up with a concept of what we could do. So we got some, the Howard the Duck thing. I've had a drink with Ryan Reynolds. Oh, look at that. Lovely.
He lives in Wrexham. That's what I think.
That makes a lot of sense now. Yeah, so there's a local shop called That Weird Shop that lent us an old telly and VHS player. And I commissioned my wife to make a video. So she took all the celebrity videos, and I was like, make it as rubbish as possible. So she made it'll look really VHS, with the flickers and stuff. And then we got loads of T-shirts and stickers. And we basically just spent the whole weekend chatting to people, as we are now, about, there we are, there's our stall. We just chatted about films, So we've got the T-shirts there. Just don't tell anyone that is involved in, the IP of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
What happens if?
Of course not.
What was the prize for guessing how many sweets were in that jar?
The prize, I've actually packaged it up next to my desk at work. It's a tote bag, stickers and badges, 5 VHS, all of the sweets, one of the ducks, and a guest list table of 4. So someone was actually, was it 5 sweets away from guessing it correctly?
Yeah.
Which is crazy how close they got. So yeah, they won that. That was, you know, the old school way of taking people's email addresses. That was, you go on Instagram, click like, and
Yeah.
you know, but people are lazy. It turns out, you know, we got all of those flyers, and we realized we only gave a flyer to the people that wanted to talk about movies, which it was a few hundred over the weekend, but it certainly wasn't thousands, you know. So we're all flyered up for eternity now. But it was great. It was. We were positioned right in front of the band, who were good. But you know, when the band performs, you can't have a conversation about bad movies. But it was great. Yeah, there we are. We just sort of went off and got loads of silly photos. There's me with, is that Johnny Five?
Yeah. I love Johnny Five.
But yeah, the night before we went out, we set it all up and we went to the pub, and we were so excited that I think we went too big too soon, and it ended up just being like the worst hangover you could ever want in your life. But it was great though, you know. But to be, you know, we'd just done The Room, and Greg Sestero came, and then we were at MCon. It all feels a bit surreal. Like, this isn't our job. This is just our sort of out of work hobby.
Yeah.
And it's to see. So we've sold out every single night so far. Then obviously in July we've got 3 sold out Spice Worlds. It's great. Like, we're really happy with how it's going.
Are they just Spice World, or are you doing a double feature with anything else?
So we announced, because we were like, we want to do Spice World, but I don't think you can double feature Spice World. So we said, why don't we make a whole thing of it? So we were like, let's make it Spice World, but let's make it a bottomless brunch that lasts 93 minutes. So it lasts 93 minutes during the film. And then when everyone's drunk, what do you want them to do? Karaoke. So it's a triple header of Spice World, the movie, bottomless brunch, and then karaoke. So we announced it, and then tickets went on sale, and all the tickets were in baskets within 4 minutes. Sorry, 4 seconds. 4 seconds, and they sold out within 3 minutes. That's how long it took for every person to buy their ticket. So I was like, let's do another one. And the guys were like, we can't watch it again. I was like, let's do another one. We put another one on sale. That sold out in 10 minutes. So we're doing 3 sold out ones in Nottingham in one weekend. And we've actually added the first ever Not Bad Movie Club not in Nottingham. We're doing it over at Annie's Burger Shack in Derby, because they can sit 150 in that room. And we've sold 100 so far. So 100 people. So far, it's like, I can't even do the maths. It's getting on for like 350, 400 people have bought tickets to see Spice World the movie, Bottomless Brunch, and karaoke.
That's immense, isn't
which
it?
is mental, yeah. So in a couple of weeks, we've got to watch it once on the Saturday and then twice on the Sunday, all with Bottomless Brunch, all with different people. We're going to be dressed as the Spice Girls. You know, obviously we've got 3 videos already, and they're good ones as well, like A-listers, some of these people. It's going to be utter chaos. You know. But yeah, I think we're just very happy to be this stuff to be happening. And because, you know, like we were saying, how did you get Greg Sestero? I just messaged him. That suddenly made me think, oh, we could do more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can message more people. So I've started messaging more people, and because we're starting to get all these celebrity videos, we're finding a lot of people are saying yes. You know what I mean? So we've got some interesting things that we haven't announced. Obviously, you might have seen we're going on sale tomorrow morning with Ghost Watch.
Yeah, I've got the image later on.
Yeah. So I mean, should we talk about that now or in a bit? What would you rather
We
do?
can talk about that if you want.
Yeah. So that one, it was something like February. I was like, I love Ghost Watch. Oh, there we are. Yeah. I was like, I'm going to message the director. I messaged the director saying, I'd love to show Ghost Watch. Would you come to Nottingham? And she just went, yeah. And I was like, what? And then I said, oh, cool. How do we license the film? And she was like, oh, you'll have to look into that. And I looked into it, but the licensing, I'm sure you know, like the history behind Ghost Watch. It was on telly once, and then obviously DVD. But you have to go through the British Film Institute, and then they have to get it approved by the BBC. And we're like, oh, never going to happen. So this process has been happening since February. And like 5 days ago, we actually got all approved by the BBC. Do it.
Fantastic.
And so I was like, oh my God. So I messaged the director, you still in? She's like, I'm still in. Quickly made a poster, and that's it. So we're screening Ghost Watch in October, and this is the night before Leprechaun and Killer Clowns. So it's a whole weekender of good on the Friday, which is Ghost Watch, and then bad, which is Leprechaun, Killer Clowns. And then it scared everyone. And I watched it when I was 6. And you know, for years I couldn't work out what that scary thing that I watched when I was 6 was. Do you know what I mean? And now obviously
Didn't know the name of it. Yeah.
we all know what it is, and you know, we bought the DVD. But yeah, so the idea is Leslie Manning's going to come. We're going to do an interview on the stage. We're going to do a bit of a Q&A with the audience. Then we're going to watch the film. And it's going to be great. So this one will be another one like the Room. So won't be tables. It'll be like theatre style seating, and then we sell to about 100. So it's still very exclusive. You know, I'd rather do it in a small room than in a massive cinema somewhere. So it feels like, yeah, it just feels close, and I think it'll be scarier watching it on a dodgy screen on the wall rather than a cinema screen. Is going to be great.
Yeah, I think that'll be awesome.
I'm just taken back to when it was on. It's just such. It was ahead of its time, really. I think.
Well, it was. That's it. I mean,
so it's detriment
to the director, because for me, it kind of influenced Blair Witch Project and then Paranormal Activity, and it was, and it's also it's an interesting dialogue about nostalgia and fear. Do you know what I mean? Like, it really, everyone remembers Ghostwatch, and it was terrifying. But you watch it now, and it's not so scary. But part of it is scary because it reminds you of your childhood, being too scared to, like. I remember being too scared to run across the landing. You know, like to go to my mum and dad's room, and I'd have to sprint because of, like, my bedroom. Sadly, looked exactly like the kids' bedroom. You know, with the two beds. And we've had, there's other people I've been speaking to that aren't from England, and I've said, would you consider coming over? And I'm setting up a Zoom call with this person soon to figure out how we get them from America to England, which is crazy. It blows my mind as a movie fan, like that, because I think it's because we worked out, like, you know, it cost this much money to put the guy from The Room on. Well, if it only costs that much for him, well, that's affordable. You know, if we can sell 100 tickets and charge 16 quid, then we can fly someone over. Do you know what I mean? I just worked it out. I was 12 when I watched it.
Oh, bless you.
That's Winty. Winty, you're older than me.
Yeah.
You must have watched it on DVD. But yeah, it's terrifying. He just said I'd worked out what it was. He's screening the film. But anyway, yeah. So I can't wait.
He's your technical guy, isn't he?
He is
Travel with the Joneses said it always keeps you on the edge. Oh, on your edge.
It is, yeah. It was ahead of its time. It's scary, but I'm enjoying this as a movie fan because, you know, I emailed the director or something, will you come to Nottingham? Yes. I'm like, oh my God, how do we make this work? You know what I mean? And that's it. And now, you know, my kids to bed, and I'm making a poster in the bathroom on a radiator, and then it's going on sale tomorrow. And I hope it will sell well. As I said, there's only 100 tickets available. So it's
what time are they going to sell?
10 a.m. tomorrow. If you go on our Instagram, you'll find the link. If you go on Facebook, you'll find it. But it's all through C Tickets. And yeah, as I say, there's only 100 tickets available, and that's it. We're not doing a second screening. If anyone hasn't heard of it, it was essentially
it's insane.
It was a huge hoax in 1992 that no one knew was a hoax, and it was played out like almost like a live seance.
They were wasn't it? BBC said they could only show it if they said at the start it wasn't real. So at the very start, which a lot of people missed, he's like what do you call it, like the segue bit. The announcer did say it was like a work of fiction or something.
Yeah, they say, yeah.
But not many people saw that.
The funny thing, my mum's been apologising like loads this week because I was like, why was I watching it when I was 6, Mum? Do you know what I mean? She's like, oh, we didn't know. Like, but yeah, because I've got a 6-year-old now, and I'm like, there's no chance she would be watching a horror program at 9:20 or whenever it was on. Do you know what I mean? I think the times are different. You could smoke on an airplane then, so things are very different.
Yeah. I bet Travel with the Jones says I was 10 when it came out, and then Coasting with the Joneses said it used the Going Live telephone number.
It's hard to explain to NF Attractions what it was.
Yeah, it was a live hoax, almost like, you know, Darren Brown does these things, and like with a nation.
It's a bit like Crime Watch as well, because it had the people on the phones, and if you saw stuff in the program, you're meant to phone in, and then someone
got inundated with calls, weren't they?
Yeah.
And then they actually had to do a short thing afterwards to say, we've had a lot of calls. It was fake. You know, everyone's alive. It's all okay. But yeah, I just think for me, it's a piece of like horror history. So I'm really interested. So we're probably not going to, people aren't going to go like and play drinking games along to this film. It's going to be a bit more like of a classy Not so Good Movie Club, where
Do you think it would have got as much of a following if it hadn't been banned?
I
If it
think
had just stayed
so.
on and got reruns, do you think it would have got as, or do you think the fact it got banned for a long time?
I think it's
That's
added to the
true.
notoriety. You know what I mean? But I don't think it would have affected it. It was on its own. It was ahead of its time. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, I'm a huge fan of Inside
Spoiler
Number
alert.
9. Inside Number 9. They've done 2 episodes that are similar to this. Do you know what I mean? And they've said it's directly because of Ghostwatch the reason why we've done this. Like, it's just such a fun way of doing television. I think.
I'd love them to put that blurb on the DVD case.
I think it was just a different
But
way
you
as
got it in
well.
the
I
end.
think it was just a different way as well of that kind of era where people could actually phone in, didn't they, and stuff like that as well. There was like game shows of people ringing in as well, so that was just something different. That was actually, of course, Ghostwatch of people ringing in going, I saw an orb go past, or I saw the door move, or there was a hand at the window in the background, and yeah, it was really, really good.
And the fact that Craig Charles on there and people like that.
Yeah.
Also,
Which surprised me. I didn't know Craig Charles was on it. So.
Also, I think it got banned also because someone killed themselves. I'm not going to dwell on that.
They did, yeah. From what I read, yeah, someone with a nervous disposition, I think. But
yeah,
that's all stuff I'd like to touch on. Do you know what I mean? I want it to be like an interesting. Because in order to screen a film for the British Film Institute, you have to basically show that you're not just doing it for profit, and you know, like. But I was like, no, I think I'm genuinely interested by this, and I think a lot of horror fans would be interested to hear from the director about where her influences came from. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it is, yeah, like this War of the Worlds. You know?
Yeah, definitely War of the Worlds one. Yeah.
So yeah, but it's very different to anything we've done. But for me, this will be the second time we've had someone from the film or directed actually there in the flesh, and I'd like to do more of that stuff. It's great getting these cameos, but if we can actually, like, I quite enjoy being like the guy who's had a few beers on the microphone, introducing
Master of ceremonies.
Yeah, but as I say, when we had Greg Sestero, I remember him. He was talking about. He was like, yeah, I want people to know that I've kind of moved on from the room and I've got a lot of interesting projects I've got coming up. And I said to him, I'd had a few beers. I was like, is that why you've got a table selling merchandise with 150 of your face in the room over there? Do you know what I mean? It was nice to build this rapport with him, and it was great. So the more we can do with him, that's this is what I like about our night. We make these kind of images on our phones, and the worse it looks, the more on brand it is. It fits perfectly. Like our t-shirts, Comic Sans, as are our flyers.
It's really good.
Do we want to? There is one more quiz, but I think to do it, you might need help from the people in the live chat, but we can work with that.
Okay.
What I've done is I've spelled out bad movies using letters from bad movie logos.
Okay.
Oh, crikey.
Right.
This is.
I'm going to offend some people with what I think about movies.
Dibs on S.
Yeah, I know S.
What's that? What's the S then?
Do you want to do it?
Street Fighter?
Yep.
Yeah.
The I is Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, that was a pretty good guess.
Anyone else in the chat can join in, by the way, if you can see it.
You've never seen The Room. You got to watch it, Gareth. You got to watch it.
One of them's got to be The Room. I don't know which one, though.
Oh, yeah, at some point, the Bad Movie Club has to show volume 1 and 2 of Best Friends, because that's...
definitely, yeah.
Have you seen it?
I haven't actually seen it. I do hope that we've built a bit of... Greg Sestero has been texting me since, and I'm hoping we've built a bit of a friendship with him. We can get him back.
Yeah.
We'll do some more. I don't even know.
Oh, we've got Costume with the Joneses saying that the O is Mortal Kombat.
No, the O is a very famous...
I know the O. It's Troll 2.
Yeah, Troll 2, yeah.
A is very familiar.
A is from
it looks like Action Man or something similar.
No, it's from I think it was 2002. It was a remake of an old film. It's technically about a sport. It had an LL Cool J in it.
Rollerball?
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
The D is very zoomed in. That's from a film that I I think Rob was on 80s Video Shop account. He mentioned it earlier.
Oh,
Oh, what did he mention?
no.
The
I don't
the
say it in case you
knockoff
got-
of Cabbage Patch.
Oh,
Oh, pale.
Garbage Pail Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the M is from the definitive bad movie.
The Room.
Yeah.
Joel with the Joneses put V as vampire.
V is probably the hardest one on there.
I don't think it's a
B is from another film that I think is almost as good as The Room.
Almost as good as it.
It's
Oh,
about
Birdemic
birds.
one.
Yeah,
Birdemic,
Birdemic,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh gosh.
So you
So
got
what
the
we've
V,
got
and
left,
the
V
I,
and E.
the V and the E, yeah.
So I've got comments here. So probably wrong. B is Men in Black now. So V maybe from V for Vendetta,
V is from
which I quite like that movie by the way.
V
It's
is from the
actually quite a good movie.
tagline of the 4th film in a series.
V.
It's from
Fourth
if you can give
film.
me the title, it's from the 4th Jaws film.
Oh, The Revenge.
Yeah, The Revenge, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was so bad. I don't know if anyone else has seen it, but the premise was
Obviously, I've got it on DVD.
the premise was the shark. I've got to do it as well. Yeah, the premise was the shark. It was now personal, and the shark hunted them down to Hawaii and wanted a specific woman who was married to the guy from the film.
Which is pretty much the plot of 28 Weeks Later with Robert Carlyle as a zombie.
Sort of, yeah. Now you mention it. The E is from a famous a sequel to a famous horror film with Mike Myers in it.
Halloween. 2.
Is this 3 Season of the Witch?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which was famously quite bad, but I quite liked it because it didn't have Michael Myers in it.
And my days of Halloween. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Look at this.
That's where they all came from.
Oh, well, Halloween 2. Sausages.
Out of all those films, actually, I don't think Rollerball's great, but I think the rest are all fairly good in their own right.
The original Rollerball is the dad from Elf, so that all ties in nicely.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
There we go.
there we go.
See what
Sorry
other-
when he disappeared into the ether, but at least he got to
That's
watch,
right.
watch the show.
I know it's okay. I appreciate him coming on and doing the chat. Bless him. So
On photos. I've taken these photos from Spinal Tap's another great one.
So that's obviously a good movie, Spinal Tap. That one is. It took me probably 10 hours to find the licensing, which is, and we've got it, and it's all officially licensed. But you won't see that screen in many places because if you Google Spinal Tap licensing, there was a whole court case. They claimed, I can't remember exactly what it was, but something like $84 that they claimed was all the royalties they got since the film came out on merchandising, and they took someone to court. I don't know the information behind it, and they've started their own licensing body. And I actually got this license by contacting the guy from Better Call Saul, his brother in Better Call Saul. I contacted him, and it was passed to like one of his people, and then eventually like a guy in a suit emailed me saying, "I hear you want to screen this as Spinal Tap." So mental. Yeah, we had to pay in dollars. Very strange.
Is it normally the same price for films, or does it matter? Are there some films that
It
are
really
a lot more?
depends. There's some blanket umbrella companies in the UK that will screen them. So I'll tell you another one about Leprechaun in a minute. Yeah. So, but not all the films are on there. So certain things you have to really research. Definitely like the 80s deep cuts aren't on there. So Leprechaun wasn't licensable in the world until I got involved, it's blown my mind. Like, and I can't wait to talk about it on the night. And you couldn't find it anywhere. So I contacted. I was like, searched everywhere. I ended up contacting Sony, and was like, "You released Leprechaun all these years ago," and they were like, "No, you need to speak to Lionsgate." So they sent me like, "Go speak." So I spoke to Lionsgate. They were like, "You need to speak to Sony." I was like, "I've spoken to Sony. I need to, and they were like, "No, you need to speak to Film Bank Media." So I emailed Film Bank Media, and they were like, "What?" And it basically, like the equivalent of when you lose some coins down the back of a sofa. That's what happened with Leprechaun.
So no one knew who had the rights to it.
It fell off yes, but so Sony Lions, and I had to put Sony Lionsgate and Film Bank Media into a conversation, and a day later, the Leprechaun films were licensable again. something happened. And they must have, because obviously, I think it turns out that no one in the world had said, "I really want to screen Leprechaun," which kind of sums up our night. I'm like, that's what we want to screen. But yeah, it wasn't licensable at all. And because of this, me speaking to all these different people, it's suddenly, so now if someone wants to do a screening of Leprechaun Back to the Hood or whatever it's called, it's now there. You can do it. It exists. So yeah, some of them it's easy, and some of them it's a lot of work.
But it's so worth it in the end.
Oh, definitely. We did that with what is it? Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. It's actually 101 Films we're licensing it through. So they've obviously bought the rights to release it on Blu-ray, but then they've got the distribution rights for screening as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's just so
Winty in a little box. I was like, Winty, go and get some content. Movie suggestion. Will say, yeah. Well, that's right. I saved it, didn't I, Winty? This is why you need to be here, Winty, so you can't slag me off. And you're such a keyboard warrior.
Movie suggestions. Will save cinema.
Yeah. Is there a new Lep film? I don't know. Is it frowned upon to have a dwarf dressed as a leprechaun in a horror film? I don't know.
I don't know if it's inclusion.
Yeah.
I was on a separate note. I was quite annoyed. I don't watch on a regular basis, but I noticed he's not on Tenable anymore.
You're not on where? Sorry.
He used to be on a game show called Tenable. Warwick Davis. He used to be the presenter.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I watched it recently, and it's got some random woman from Coronation Street, and I was like, the only reason I watched it was Warwick Davis was on it.
I really hope that for Leprechaun he will respond to an email. That would be a good one.
I remember years ago went to a Comic-Con, and even if you weren't going to go get something signed, you weren't even allowed to walk past and take a photo of him. So he might be
a
bit
wow.
tricky to
Do
get,
you want to
probably.
mention?
I'm not bad mouthing him in any way, like completely
yeah.
for him, but I just remember that from like 10, 15 years ago.
I've not got the graphic for it, but
it might have changed since then.
not got the graphic for it, but you showed me earlier.
My phone dropped.
You showed me earlier. There's a Comic-Con in Matlock. Soon.
There is a
I don't know
Comic-Con.
if you guys are going to go to that.
Going to be. I can't remember the date of it now, but there is one coming up, and I think
I love
it's
Matlock.
13th of August.
Cool.
So maybe.
Yeah, we don't know. Like,
I'll find it on Facebook.
it sort of goes on. We don't really know. I guess what we got from going to MCon. We enjoyed being there. Excuse me. But we went there to sort of to spread the word about our night. You know what I mean? And until people start buying those tickets, we don't know. Maybe we just spent loads of money to have a nice conversation with 100 people. I don't
know. You've sold out Spice World 3 times.
Oh, I know. But that wasn't MCon. That was just the crazy people of Nottingham. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think because we were talking about it while we're there, like, would we do another one? We had a great time, but I think we're gonna play it by ear because we don't know. It seems to be evolving constantly. We don't know what the future holds. So, for now, if we can fill the seats, then we're good. You know, we had a lot of fun.
It's still really good to say, like, from a couple of years ago where we couldn't talk to everyone, and then you're now building this community together to, like, just that togetherness, and it's just
especially
wonderful. It's like, I can't explain it. It's euphoric, really. It's just having a good laugh, a good time, and that's what we're all here for, really, isn't it? So
everyone's just been really silly as well. You know, with the Good Movie Club, we did what was it, Total Recall and Predator. And then before each film, everyone had to, if they wanted to, put the Arnie masks on and do impressions of Arnie. And we had a competition. And I remember, like, because all the Arnie masks had little eyes, we popped all the eyes out, you know, to make the masks. I don't know why, but I popped them all into a small cup. And I was like, what am I going to do with like 48 Arnold Schwarzenegger eyes? So we gave that away as a prize. That was the booby prize to the guy who came second. He won a cup of Arnold Schwarzenegger eyes. I like to think he's got them on a shelf somewhere, but he probably threw them in the bin. But just being able to be silly with grown-ups is something that we've not been able to do for a while. So
yeah, I'd stick them on random things in the house. Do you know what you do with the googly eye?
It was freaky.
See, that's the thing. It's just all good fun. I just think it's awesome.
So,
keep thinking, can we go?
Well, no. Well, yeah, we will go at some point. Well, I'm going to look at the ticket sales tomorrow for Ghost Watch.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely going to do that one. And if anyone's into spooky stuff as well, if they want to come join the
I think NF Attractions is going to message us tomorrow and go, I'm scared now, I'll watch Ghost Watch. Because he's going to watch it after the show.
But, you know, like, we have a lot of people come and they buy a single stall. And when they arrive, we say, you have a choice of sitting on a single stool over there, or we've created a table with all the people that have bought a single chair. And you find that they go, I'll just sit with everyone else. And by the end of the night, you've got a table of 5 and they're all friends, which is great, you know.
Oh, that's
But, you know, if
wonderful.
you are coming on your own or worried about getting involved, just turn up and befriend people, you know. It's a lot of fun.
I'd get involved in everything. That's all I'm going to say. I'm just like, I want to have a go at this. I want to do that.
Is there any, while we start to wind down, is there anything you wanted to plug before we wrap up? Or
To plug, I don't know. Well, obviously with Spice World being sold out, we've got the on sale tomorrow for Ghost Watch. So if you're on the fence, then you should definitely buy a ticket. I imagine it will sell out eventually. I don't know if it will sell out tomorrow. Our next big one is August the 18th, and that's our first birthday party. So there's going to be cake, and Chris really wants to get like a balloon animal sculptor person, and just because we're great at spending money on things we don't need. But there'll be, you know, cake and bunting and all this kind of stuff. But it's a double bill of Congo and Deep Blue Sea, and that's sold almost half the tickets so far. And those films aren't your obvious choices for bad movies, but the moment where I think it's Samuel L. Jackson gets eaten by a shark in Deep Blue Sea.
yeah,
That
so
60 people watching
CGI.
that, you know what I mean? It's going to be just a roar of a cheer from 60 people is going to be great. So that's the next one I'd advise, because then in September it's Spinal Tap, and that's almost sold out as well.
That's fantastic.
I think when where is your schedule and everything? Is it on your Instagram page or?
Yeah, so if you go on our Instagram or Facebook, so Instagram, if you click on the bio, it has a ticket link in there, and everything's on, like, it's just listed on a ticket page.
Fantastic.
Basically. They're all currently at Annie's Burger Shack, so it makes it nice and easy. You can have the burgers, the bar's open all the way through. Do you know what I mean? It's just a lot of fun. It's like the opposite of Odeon, where you have to sort of sit in silence and drink your Coca-Cola. You can still drink Coca-Cola, but if you want to have like 12 pints, that's also absolutely fine. No judging here.
You, and I'll be on doing the activities.
Just
That's
that.
about it, yeah.
I'm joking. So
Anything
it's
you
only
wanna
if
say?
it's because there's like different beers to try it. Be like, ooh, yeah, all good fun.
Is there anything you wanted to say?
No, just thank you everyone for watching and putting
It's
in your
gone
comments. It's
quick.
been wonderful, and thank you
But,
very much for
I haven't got the
coming on the
graphic.
show as well.
Well, I did
Yeah,
have the
thanks so much
graphic, but it
for
was set up if there were 3 of us here. But MA Travels, Maddie and Andy are coming on next week, so we'll talk to them next week.
Cool.
But I'll put all the links. So if you want to buy tickets, the Facebook and Instagram are in the description.
Amazing.
To buy
Thanks,
them
guys.
on-
Keep up the good work. It's great.
No, I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you very
We'll be
much
coming
as
along soon, but
well.
we'll have to try and sort out. I don't know if you're going to go, but Matlock are doing a Comic-Con in August, so
Nice. Yeah. And if you come to one of the nights, drop us a message before. We'll have a Coca-Cola together.
Yeah. Might have mine with rum.
did you? I won't ask
Do
you
you want
if
me
you
to
know
do
what
the
the
outro?
catchphrase is, because you won't know, will you?
Me? No, I don't know
Yeah,
what the
no,
is it.
It's an
is it-
ongoing joke. We always ask the guests to do the catchphrase.
Is it? And that's it, because we're going to bed now. Was that it? Did I nail it?
That's not as bad as someone else thought it was. I'll see you on the
Looking
other
forward
side.
to it, MA
Oh, God.
Travels. So we'll see you.
In the rear view.
Because for now,
We're gone.
bye.